A PETA investigation has revealed that for decades, a National Institutes of Health laboratory in Maryland has confined hundreds of monkeys, bred dozens of babies each year to be predisposed to mental illness, torn many away from their mothers at birth, and tormented them for their entire lives in cruel and archaic psychological experiments. PETA has obtained never-before-seen photos and video footage taken by NIH staff that shows just some of these recent and ongoing heartbreaking experiments. The experiments are designed to cause, worsen, and measure the severe anxiety, fear, and depression experienced by these traumatized baby monkeys. In so-called intruder experiments, terrified babies were placed alone in metal cages and repeatedly threatened by the intimidating presence of masked humans. The babies became frantic and tried desperately to escape. In startle tests, infants were restrained inside mesh cages so small that they cannot even stand or crouch, and are deliberately scared by extremely loud noises or bursts of air that send them into a panic. In anxiety-inducing experiments, infants were caged with their mothers, who had been heavily sedated and have their nipples taped over so they cannot respond and comfort their frightened babies when they cry out, cling to, and frantically try to revive them. Experimenters laugh while one mother struggles to remain awake to comfort her distraught baby. In some trials, the experimenters released mechanical snakes into the cages to further terrify the infants, who naturally fear these reptiles. Some of the babies are given only stiff bottles covered with cloth to cling to as crude surrogates for their real moms. Having never known a day of love in their entire lives, some sink into depression, attack their own limbs, and rip out their own hair. Some of the young monkeys are subjected to additional experiments in which they are forcibly addicted to alcohol in order to worsen their symptoms of depression and anxiety. After a life of systematically induced terror and trauma, many of these monkeys, who can live into their 30s in the wild, are killed, often before the age of 8.
As someone who has spent her career documenting primates' rich social and emotional lives, I found it excruciating to watch the video of NIH's fear and anxiety-inducing experiments on vulnerable baby monkeys. And even worse, to know that behind it are hundreds of hours of additional footage and other similar experiments still going on. Taken as a group and without exception, these maternal deprivation experiments are cruel, plunging infant monkeys into hellish conditions that they can neither control nor escape from. Both ethically and morally, these experiments have no place in science today.
NIH has conducted these studies for more than 3 decades and recently spent more than $30 million on them, even though the experimenters have acknowledged that they are not relevant to humans and that there are far more effective, human-based genetic, brain imaging, and other modern research methods available for studying human mental illness instead. Please help end NIH's abuse of baby monkeys. Take action at PETA2.com.